Welcome
Mhm.
to the show, Sasha. It's great to see you.
Hi, Shannon. Great to see you too. Thanks for inviting me.
I love it. Beta, alpha, delta, baby. Bad.
Yes.
It's a bad girls club. And you've had a lot to say about just the slew of betrayals that
Uh-huh.
we have witnessed over the past few weeks from this administration, who, let's be honest, he was Jab Daddy Trump. I mean, he did this to us in the first place. And people
Hmm.
like you and I were hollering about this 12 months ago, 18 months ago, but all the men in the room said, no, 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 trust the plan.
Hmm.
He's seen the light. He's turned a new leaf, right? Well, here we are 3 months into the administration. We have a fast tracked SA, self amplifying mRNA vaccine. We have hundreds of new mRNA technologies in the hopper for approval in 25 and 26. And the coup de grace, the big daddy, we have FDA approval of a new mRNA COVID jab. This is RFK's administration. This is
Hmm.
Marty Makary. This is Jay Bhattacharya. These guys are supposed to be on our side. Sasha, what do you make of all of this over the past couple weeks?
Right. So my conclusion about this current HHS administration. So I mostly focus on HHS happenings with the vaccines and vaccines in general, mRNA vaccines, and all of their sort of new policies that they're coming up with. And what it became very apparent that these policies are continuation of the Biden administration policies. There is no difference whatsoever. And actually, this approval, this very recent approval of the new Moderna COVID shot, mRNA COVID shot. It's called mNex spike, which is a very bizarre name.
Next
Uh,
spike. It
yeah,
is.
mNex spike. First of all, you can't pronounce it. Second of all, people pointed out that nex in Latin is death or slaughter.
No.
Yeah, and so I mean, they couldn't be more clear with us, I think. So, but in any case, so this shot was just approved by the FDA for their brand new policy that they recently published by doctors Makary and Prasad, saying that these shots are, well, we're limiting them. We are not recommending them for healthy children or healthy adults, but we're going to recommend them only to protect the vulnerable. So I want everyone to pay attention to this Orwellian language of protect the vulnerable, because what that means is eugenics. It's very directly linked to eugenics. They're targeting people, labeling them vulnerable,
Difficulties here.
and giving them knowingly poisonous substances. Especially, this is atrocious for children and pregnant women. I mean, nobody should be getting these things, but it's particularly devastating for young, healthy women who want to have healthy children. And this is now an explicit FDA and CDC recommendation that pregnant women and children who can be labeled immunocompromised or moderately immunocompromised, which in their also Orwellian speak, it's anything under the sun, anything that a white coat can convince you of, such as maybe you had several ear infections
Mm,
in the last year, and that would qualify. Maybe the child is overweight, that will also qualify. Maybe the
wow.
child has allergies, that also qualifies them as immunocompromised. So you see where this is going, and this is particularly atrocious because, as you said early on in the show, and I urge people to watch this live stream, there is a historic trial ongoing right now in Appleton, Wisconsin, for Grace Shara wrongful death. She was labeled in 2020 as a vulnerable because of her Down syndrome. That's what I'm saying. So the targeting of the vulnerable, labeling them as if they need to be protected from COVID to death, is what started in 2020 and is still ongoing today. These hospital murder protocols are still there. The HHS and new administration said nothing about any of it. They didn't even show. Nobody even showed up. There was a recent hearing by Senator Ron Johnson, again with the vaccine injured victims. None of them showed up to that hearing in DC. They never mention any of this, any related to hospital protocols, to PrEP Act, especially, which covers all the liability for all this stuff. And and now they approved this new Moderna shot. The new Moderna shot was approved according to the new FDA policy, without any placebo control in the trial and without any long-term safety monitoring, based only on immunogenicity comparison between Spikevax and this new mX, whatever spike. Uh, and immunogenicity is basically just measuring antibody titers in the blood and saying, well, these are non-inferior to the Spikevax, therefore it's good to go. And according to new FDA policy that Macker and Prasad published, this is acceptable, and now these shots can be forced and coerced and manipulated on everyone over 65 years old, regardless of their health status, and on people under 65 years old, whoever they can label as vulnerable, as I described. And so
Wow.
this is
Horrifying.
incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pointing out that this policy that Macker and Prasad claim is theirs, and MAHA policy and new good FDA policy, was there in 2023 when this study was designed. So this policy was well designed under Biden administration, probably by Peter Marks and Robert Califf at the time. At the time, they met with Moderna, and when the study was designed, told them that this protocol without placebo control and without long-term safety monitoring is acceptable for approval. That's why Moderna, ran the study and submitted the data and got the approval. And so yesterday you mentioned RFK Jr. was issuing apologies and excuses for
Not
this, and
apologies,
saying,
not apologies.
not
Why don't I
apologies,
why don't I
yes,
read it why don't I read it to you?
yeah,
You want me to read what
yeah,
he had the audacity to tweet out yesterday?
mhm,
Just to recap, I mean, Sasha, you are talking about a massive betrayal.
mhm,
This is not a trust the plan. This is not poor RFK, poor baby. He's in the pit of vipers and he's trying really hard. This is not down the road where we're taking baby steps. These are not baby steps forward. These are giant, giant leaps backwards. This is
mhm,
a continuation of Biden era policies on steroids. And particularly, I just want to isolate one of the most important elements of what you just said. Before, during the Biden administration, they were recommending the COVID shots for all pregnant women, all babies and children, and all humans in the United States of America. Now they have changed the recommendation, telling us that it's a win, but saying that they are only recommending to children who are vulnerable or unhealthy, AKA nearly every child in the country, but particularly the vulnerable ones who are immunocompromised, who are the very children who should never, ever, ever, ever take these COVID shots.
mhm,
Their bodies are even more vulnerable to adverse injury and death. And that goes for unhealthy pregnant women and immunocompromised pregnant women and unhealthy or immunocompromised Americans. So they are targeting in a kill off, it seems, with next vax, which means in Latin, death or slaughter, or a very violent and unnatural death, by the way, if you want an extended version of what it means in Latin, the most vulnerable among us. So when you talk about eugenics, eugenics is the negative breeding, right? So
mhm,
taking out of the population anyone who is not a useful breeder. All of the useful eaters get cleaned out, murdered, annihilated,
mhm,
democided,
yeah,
right? Homicided by their own government because their systems are immunocompromised. And so this next round of recommended boosters from RFK is going to target those populations, right? So I
mhm,
want it to be very clear to
mhm,
everyone watching. This is not a baby step forward. This is a giant leap backwards. And this is what he had to say yesterday in defense of what he has done. I want to address those of you who have anxieties, okay,
mhm, yeah,
about US FDA's limited approval of a new limited. of a new mRNA COVID vaccine for high risk populations. Moderna has agreed to a true placebo controlled trial of the new vaccine, which is similar to the existing mRNA vaccine, but uses a smaller protein. The FDA will monitor and collect the data throughout the trial for every adverse outcome. They don't even have the balls to talk about adverse outcomes to the original mRNA shot in the MAHA report, in any of the hearings. They don't have the balls to attend Ron Johnson's hearing just last week that talked about adverse events, but he is with a straight face telling us that they're going to monitor every adverse outcome. Bullshit. That's just my opinion. But anyway, the FDA will monitor and collect data throughout the trial for every adverse outcome, not just a table list of expected outcomes. FDA will scrutinize every aspect of the trial. We will deliver on our promise to use gold standard science and common sense. Trust the science, says RFK Jr., backstabber in chief over at HHS. Your thoughts, Sasha?
Yeah, so this is again as Orwellian as it gets, in my opinion. So he promises. So he says we just approved it for a limited. Well, that their limited definition. If you make a calculation of everyone that they labeled vulnerable in their policy, it's at least 75% of the U.S. population, including adults and children.
Mm.
So and we know that about 80% of the U.S. population got jabbed with original mRNA shots. So they're just going for the same exact market, right? And the government is helping Moderna to increase their sales, to increase their target market by introducing these policies. Protect the vulnerable. This is just it's incredible. And then he's promising a study that has not been designed yet. There isn't even a clinicaltrial.gov number, any sort of registration. So he says they agreed to a study, but there's no evidence of that agreement or any study that is being designed, planned. And these studies take years to design.
Yep.
And another year to execute, even if it's a short term. But he's promising us, long-term safety follow-up. So that's going to be 2 to 3 years, 5 years. So what are you saying? You just approved the shot, and about 7 years from now, we should expect gold standard science from it? Like, how much more does it get? I don't understand, frankly, why do we need to have FDA? If that's what they're doing, just pushing untested stuff on the market, why do we have FDA at all? Why not allow all the drugs? I mean, and they're making this preferential treatment red carpet without any testing or any regulation for these particular EUA countermeasures under public health emergency, COVID shots. Everything else, medical devices, drugs, even supplements, or minor things, have to go through very, very extensive testing before they can get approved. So why are we treating these things special, and why are we lying to the public that they are somehow regulated pharmaceuticals where clearly they're not regulated at all, and there is no liability for them either, because again, under current PrEP Act declaration, that RFK Jr. can terminate any minute as he wishes.
Right.
The law gives him the dictatorial, authoritarian powers unreviewable by Congress, unreviewable by judicial branch, in violation of the US Constitution, to do this at any minute. So this was done to commit this massive crime, and he has the power to stop it right now. He has not done it. He hasn't even talked about it. Nobody ever mentions PrEP Act out of his new, very good MAHA FDA administration.
No.
So that's my point. He has to stop this. He has to come back to what we knew Bobby Kennedy was all these years. So please, we want that Bobby Kennedy back, and we want him to stop this atrocity now.
Yes, we do. And we can break a little bit of news here today on the Shannon Joy Show. Myself, Sasha, Latypova, Naomi Wolf, and Dr. Mary Talley Bowden have come together to craft a letter to HHS, to Bobby Kennedy, and FDA's head, Marty Makary, demanding action. No more distraction. We want action. And I sent this out, and that's going to be coming out, Sasha, in just the next few hours. I think we have it ready to go. There are some other amazing signatures on that letter, and we're going to see if we can open it up for other people to sign and push out. We're going to push it out onto social media. We are not standing by. We are not sitting down. This is not going to happen in darkness. And this is what I responded to Kennedy yesterday on Twitter. And I want to invite all of you to retweet this. I'm not buying. I'm not buying this. I reject it whole cloth. The trust the plan game is getting completely lame. And frankly, I'd expect this level of gaslighting from Anthony Fauci and Deborah Birx. It's also increasingly infuriating because it seems that the plan is to actually slow play the bitter betrayal until our movement is crushed, divided, and completely demoralized. That's what the plan seems like to me. Well, I can tell you right now, Bobby Kennedy Jr., that's not happening. We see you, and we are mobilizing to stop you if necessary. It's not personal, it's business.